Hi there. I'm here to walk you through how you can use Defog's Docker image to talk to your database in a way that lets you get highly accurate results with really low latency. Now, to set up Defog, you just add your database credentials over here. Just get the right tables, tell us what tables you want to query, and optionally some metadata about the kinds of columns you're looking for here. And once you have that, you are ready just to start querying Defog straight away. So let me ask with a bunch of straightforward questions over here. So for instance, I'm going to start with this question for which events had the most visitors in New York. And so here I can see that the generation time is very low, largely because we're using the smart cache over here. We can see the event name, we can see the city, the venue, the visitor count, and a bunch of really cool things here. And we can visualize this data if we want to. We can even do stuff like, for example, visualize all of this by city, and so you're going to see all of this kind of summed up. And you can then ask more follow-on questions as well. So you can just ask another question about, hey, which events were the ones that attracted the most fans of rock music? And so here again, we're going to see Defog come up with this query that's essentially joining a bunch of different tables together and then executing that. I'm just going to give it some time to execute the query because I think Redshift is being very slow to execute this particular query. And so again, you can see that the query barely took any time to generate, took a fair bit of time to execute, which again, given the amount of data in here, kind of makes sense. And again, we can see that this query it just worked perfectly, so no problems there. Now let's ask a question like, say, which event category is the highest growth between March 2008 and June 2008? And so here we're seeing that, in this particular question, the answer we're getting is the query looks correct. It is that this month is not in the right format. And so what we can do is we can just click on this thumbs down option, and we can just tell the model the months are in the format Jan, March, June, etc. And the filters in the queries should follow the same. So I've submitted this particular feedback, and I'll just wait for the model to give me the right answer over here. Cool, so that took about 40 seconds or so. But what we can now see is that the model kind of gave us some new instructions to make sure. So over here, what was happening under the hood was the AI kind of figured out why it messed up that particular question based on the feedback we gave it over here. And it also told us some additional instructions to give it so that it would kind of understand how to do this thing better. And so we basically got this recipe description. We also got a bunch of queries over here that would essentially act as golden queries for us to formulate the answer to this. And so we can just click on update instructions here. And now that we have updated that instruction, I'm just going to ignore the cache so that the model now takes these new instructions that we gave it, these new golden queries that we gave it, into account. And we'll now see what happens and what is the kind of query the model generates. Okay, fantastic. And so we can see how in basically real time, we just gave the model feedback because it gotten this question wrong. And immediately afterwards, it just figured out how to answer these kinds of questions very well. So that in a nutshell is what the model is now capable of doing with this guided teaching mode. And what's more is you can just go to this align model view and you can see all of the instructions the model basically has. There's also these things called golden queries. So here the model will just understand what are the kinds of queries that you have given it in the past. And so you'll just see that these queries that we had over there and just learned from those and kind of added some of these sample queries and questions automatically without us having to do anything. And of course, if I want to delete any of these things, I can just click on delete. If I want to edit any of these, I can just edit this and update this again. And if I want to add a new question and query, I can kind of do that via this view. So that in a nutshell is it, and hope you enjoy playing around with this and give us any feedback to make this thing even more useful for you.